A DNS attack can overload your network with tons of small requests, making it hard for real traffic to get through. In this video, I'll explain how a DNS attack works, and also we are going to learn the process to protect our Mikrotik device by implementing some pretty simple rules. I'm Wilmer Almazan, and this is the Network Trip. In multiple videos here in the channel, we have talked about DNS. We have learned about using our Mikrotik device as a DNS server, and also we have been talking about using DNS over HTTPS and multiple related topics. So probably if we are in a Soho environment, small office or home office, we are using our Mikrotik device to resolve DNS queries. Like for example, in this topology, we have this router that in reality is going to be a physical router that I have here in my office. So let's assume that this device is connected to the internet and the service provider is delivering a public IP. This device is going to be accessible from the internet if we don't have firewall rules. In the channel, in the Firewall series, we have learned how to protect this device from any external connection. But today we're going to be talking specifically about DNS attacks, because this is quite dangerous and we're going to see how this works. So first of all, we're going to be talking about the specific category, and we'll be talking about DNS float attacks. So here basically the attackers will be sending a large number of requests to a DNS server. In this case, the DNS server is going to be our Mikrotik device. And the idea is to send a lot of requests, commonly pretty small requests, but tons of them, and then the router won't be able to handle that amount of requests, and then the CPU usage is going to increase, and this is going to affect the overall performance of the network. To better understand the impact of this type of attack in our networks and our Mikrotik devices, the best approach is to go with a live demonstration. And to do that, I won't be using Kali Linux, I won't be using any external tools. We can simply rely in one tool that is already in routeros, and that is called Traffic Generator. So to be able to simulate that attack, we are going to generate a packet template. Then we're going to generate a stream. So that stream is simply a sequence of those packets. So we're going to define the rate, how many packets we are going to be sending per second. And additionally, once we have the stream created, we have to basically start sending the traffic. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using physical devices. I have GNS3 here just to show you the diagram, the topology, but actually this is going to be a CCR 2004, and this device here is going to be a hub AC light. So this device is going to be the attacker. I have the attacker on the left and the victim is on the right. The first step is that we'll go here to tools and then traffic generator, and we need to create a packet, and this is a template for that packet. So we'll go here to packet templates and we'll add a new template. Let's call this simply UDP 53. So this is going to be the packet. We see that the header stack is going to be MAC IP and UDP. That's good. And then we're going to go to IP. So here on destination, we're going to set the IP of the victim. So in my case, this is going to be that IP here, 192.168.63.2. In real life, if the attacker is on the internet, this will be a public IP, because that is the one that is going to be reachable over internet. And then under protocol, we're going to say that the protocol in the next layer is going to be UDP. And then we'll go to UDP. And here we have to specify the destination port. So the destination port is going to be 53. And now we can click OK. So now we have that packet template. So the next step is to create a stream. So if we go here to the traffic generator settings, we're going to go to streams and we'll add a new stream. And let's call this DNS stream. Then here we're going to set the packet size. So we can start playing with small sizes, with large sizes. So let's set something like 100. And then we're going to specify how many megabits per second. So we're going to be sending 75 megabits per second. So the hub AC Lite only has interfaces with 100 megabits per second. So I will be sending 75. And here we're going to pick the packet template that we want to use for this stream. So we're going to pick UDP 53. And now I can click OK. And here on the right, I have in this moment that victim. So it's going to be somewhere else. So we have one connection, we have the LAN network. And if I go to IP addresses, you can see that this 63.2 is on the WAN network. And then we have Ether 2 that has the local area network. I have a device that is connected in that interface just to simulate what is going to happen. So if I go to that device, you can see now that this device is completely stable. So there are no issues because everything is good in that router. But let's see what is going to happen once the attackers start sending that bunch of small requests to that router. So now the attacker is ready to start sending the traffic. So we can see here what the CPU usage in normal circumstances. And also we can see what the amount of traffic that is being received on that interface that is facing the internet connection. So now I will start this attack. And so you can see that the CPU has increased, now has gone to 100%. So we can see here also the TX rate, so the amount of packets that are being received by this device. And also if I check what's the behavior that the customers that are behind the router have now, so you can see that basically they have lost connectivity. So they don't have access because the router is in 100%. So what's the solution for this? So one option is to block all those requests that are coming via the untrusted interface in the filter section. That is basically under IP firewall filter. And to do that, we simply need to use drop. We are going to use the chain input. Any traffic that is going to the port 53 for the protocol UDP and that is coming on the untrusted interfaces. But there is also another option, and that is by using IP firewall raw. So here we have the action drop, but in this case the chain is pre-routing. So in this one the chain is input. So here is pre-routing. And then the characteristic of the packet is still going to the port 53 and also for UDP. So now let's see what is the effect on the CPU usage if I use filter or if I use raw. Okay, so now we're going to see what the effect when we use a rule under filter. So we'll simply add a new rule here. And this is going to be for the input chain, because remember that the traffic is going to the IP on the router because the router is the DNS server. So the protocol is UDP and the destination port is 53. And we're going to add as a condition the incoming interface that is going to be the untrusted interface, that in this case is Ether 1. And we want to drop that traffic. So we'll say drop DNS from untrusted IPs. So at this point, we are ready to see what is going to be the effect. So we can go here to resources. So you can see that the CPU load regularly here is around 4 to 10%. So now I will go here to start, and I will start this attack again. So if I start this, so you can see that the CPU is going up 60%, 51%. So still not going to 100%. So I mean the filter is helping. And if we see the counters, so this is actually blocking a lot of packets that are coming to this device. But still the CPU is going to 50%. And if we have more processes, this at the end can increase the CPU. We are reducing the potential capabilities of this device because the CPU is reaching around 60%. So at this level, the users should still have a good experience. But if we start increasing the load on the device for another processes, also we can still go up, and potentially we can hit 90, 100%, and then the user will start having problems again. So how can we improve that? And to that, we're going to use the second option, and that is by using IP firewall raw. So I will simply go here to ROM, and I will add a pretty similar rule. but in this case, it's going to be pre-routing. The protocol still is going to be UDP, and the destination port is going to be 53. Incoming interface, the untrusted interface, and the action is going to be drop. So before applying these changes, I'm going to keep the attack running. Basically, we're going to have over here the CPU usage. So you can see we have 46%. And now I'm going to apply the raw rule. So we will apply the change. And now it's going to start intercepting the traffic. And now you can see that it has decreased to around 15 to 20%. So we no longer need the filter rule. So we can simply disable that entry. And this is how raw is handling this attack that this router is receiving. And still, if the attacker is inside our local area network, then we can be targeted because the traffic won't be coming via Ether 1. So in that case, the recommendation would be to create a whitelist where basically we'll add all your local area networks or the IP of the device by using an address list. And then you can allow the DNS request only from trusted IPs. So you want to have the full picture on how to protect the router itself. I highly recommend you to check the video above. But now comes the question, why filter is getting a higher CPU usage than raw? And basically the answer is in the Mikrotik's packet flow diagram. So this diagram is basically showing what is going to happen to a packet when the packet is hitting a specific interface in the router. And it's going to start here at the pre-routing chain. Yes, the one that we use in the raw section. And we see that the first process that are going to be checked is hotspot in, but in this case we don't have hotspot. The first section that are going to be applied is the raw pre-routing. And here is exactly where we added the rule that is helping to keep the CPU in around 15 to 20% in this moment. And then you can see that in another chain input, so this is the one that we use under filter, we have the filter input. So filter input is coming after a lot of different processes. So you see that after raw pre-routing, we have the connection tracking, then we have the manual pre-routing, then we have destination NAT, then we have the manual input, and finally filter input. So by using raw, we are making sure that this type of DOS or DDoS attacks are being blocked at a pretty early stage in the process. So in this case, I have just an AC Lite. This is a quite small device. If you have an RB411 or 5009 or a CCR, then your CPU will allow to handle this even better. If you get an attack of this size, the CPU is going to be even lower. And also that means that it's going to be able to handle even a bigger attack. If you don't need your router acting as a DNS server, so the best approach is basically to disable the DNS server. Remember, you don't need a service, you don't have to enable that service. If you're using the external DNS service provider like Google or Cloudflare, OpenDNS, or something similar, then you can simply turn off the DNS server in your Mikrotik device. And to do that, the only thing that you need is to go to IP, DNS, and uncheck the allowed remote request. But if you need those features, then remember to block all the requests that are coming from untrusted interfaces or from untrusted IPs. We have learned a pretty simple, a pretty straightforward approach to protect our Mikrotik devices from DNS attacks. Even though that this looks pretty simple, this is a pretty common attack that we find in thousands of Mikrotik devices worldwide. So remember, make sure if you have a DNS server in your router, just respond to trusted IPs. I hope that this video has been informative for you.